السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. مرحبا بكم في الوحدة رقم 8 من كتاب Ticket to English. Hi everyone, welcome again to this English course presented by Ahmed Sayar. Before we start, please like, share, follow and subscribe. Alright, so this course is intended to second year back students working with Ticket to English Unit number 8. So today we are going to see international organizations. هذا الدرس هو موجه لتلاميذ السنة الثانية بكالوريا الوحدة رقم 8 عنوانها International Organization. Alright, so we are going to start by vocabulary. غادي نبداو اليوم ب vocabulary. Alright, بسم الله على بركة الله. Alright. So, international organizations, what do these acronyms stand for؟ بمعنى هاد الكلمات أو هاد الحروف شكون كتعني UN, UNESCO, UNICEF, UNHCR, WHO, FAO, ICRC, TI, okay, and AI. شنو كيعنيو هاد الكلمات abbreviation اختصار ديال كلمة نبداو ب number 1 The United Nations المتحدة. Number 2 The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organizations منظمة الأمم المتحدة للتربية والعلوم والثقافة. Alright, next one. The United Nations International Children Emergency Fund صندوق طوارئ الخاص بالأطفال التابع للأمم المتحدة. Next one. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees مبعوث السامي للأمم المتحدة الخاص بالريفوجيز هم اللاجئين. WHO World Health Organization منظمة الصحة العالمية. Food and Agriculture Organizations هنا عندنا food منظمة التغذية والزراعة. ICRC International Committee for Red Cross or Red Crescent منظمة الهلال الأحمر أو لا الصليب الأحمر. TA Transparency International هي منظمة الشفافية العالمية. Amnesty International هي منظمة العفو الدولية. Alright, let's move on now. Match the international organizations with their field of action. إذا هنا غادي نسيرو بسهم the organizations, okay, هادو المنظمات مع field of action or concern مع الاهتمام ديالهم. Okay, so take your time, stop the video please. غادي نبداو. Oxfam. So Oxfam eliminating poverty and famine الاختصاص ديالها هو القضاء على الفقر والمجاعة. Amnesty International. Alright. Safeguarding human rights حماية حقوق الإنسان. United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees caring for refugees الاعتناء باللاجئين. Doctors Without Frontiers Médecins Sans Frontières providing medical care توفير الدعم الطبي مساعدة الطبية during disasters خلال الكوارث. The World Health Organization fights epidemics تحارب الأوبئة around the world. World Trade Organization regulating تنظم business exchange التجارة العالمية in the world. Okay, تبادل تجاري. Put the terms. These terms belong to the jargon of international organization. Put them in the appropriate column. إذن هذه الكلمات هي تنتمي إلى المصطلحات الخاصة بالمنظمات العالمية نوضعهم في الخانة المناسبة. شكون اللي كتعني officials مسؤولين documents الوثائق establishment بمعنى البنايات. Okay, let's start now. Commissioner official council establishment resolution documents القرار resolution Congress establishment هو مقر ديال المجلس النواب الأمريكي كونغرس. ambassador سفير. secretary general أمين العام. charter هو قانون أساسي. general assembly بمعنى الأمانة العامة أو الأمانة العامة بمعنى المقر ديال الأمم المتحدة هنايا. spokesperson ناطق باسم. report تقرير. court محكمة. vice president نائب رئيس. deputy نائب. declaration إعلان. constitution هنايا constitution هو الدستور. diplomat الدبلوماسي. headquarters هو المقر الرئيسي. Alright, let's move on now. Match these words with their definitions. كلمات words definitions. Okay, so try to match please. Charter, court, sanctions, diplomacy, bilateral, violation. قلنا charter هو قانون. court محكمة. sanctions العقوبات. diplomacy هي الدبلوماسية. bilateral بمعنى ثنائي. violation هي خرق للقرار ولا عدم احترام. Let's start. Okay, charter, written statements of the main functions and principles of an organization. Court, a body of people who look into and resolve conflicts, تحل مشاكل between people. Sanctions, measures, تدابير taken by the United Nations to force للضغط state لدولة معينة to conform لتحترم to an international agreement تحترم قرار ديال قرار الأمم المتحدة ولا قرار عالمي. Diplomacy, management, تسيير of relations between countries. Bilateral, involving or relating to countries. Bilateral بمعنى ثنائي بين الدول. Violation, disrespect عدم الاحترام. Disobedience عدم الإطاعة or refusal رفض to comply with the law احترام القانون. Alright, let's move now to the next exercise. Fill in the blanks with the following words. نملؤ الفراغ بالكلمات اللي عندنا هنايا. charter, court, sanctions, diplomacy, bilateral and violation. Take your time, stop the video please. Okay, let's start with the first one. The United Nations was established in the 40s to maintain إذا تأسست في الأربعينات to maintain للحفاظ international peace السلام العالمي and security والأمن. According to its حسب charter قانونها member states دول الأعضاء are supposed to refrain من المفروض أن يتوقفوا from the use of force استعمال القوة against each other ولا against other member states ضد الأعضاء الآخرين. This document also calls on countries. هذا الcharter document يطالب الدول كذلك to settle bilateral disputes لحل مشاكل الثنائية خلافات ثنائية by peaceful means عبر وسائل peaceful يعني سلمية. That is to say, international discords should be solved. discords بمعنى خلافات should be solved by diplomacy. Okay? And negotiations. يجب أن تحل بالدبلوماسية والمفاوضات. Any violation of this principle أي خرق لهذا المبدأ can result يمكن أن يؤدي إلى severe economic and political sanctions إلى عقوبات سياسية واقتصادية. severe بمعنى حادة أو لا قوية أو لا عقوبات صارمة. The United Nations has a court. الأمم المتحدة لديها محكمة in the Hague, Holland, whose function مهمة ديالها is to look into conflicts هي أن تنظر إلى في الخلافات بين الدول. Alright, واحد مجموعة الكلمات اللي مهمين هنايا في هذا الدرس ديال المحور ديال international organizations. نزيدو نشوفو تمارين أخرى. Complete the paragraph with words from the list. Headquarters, campaign, lobbying, network, donations, founded. Okay, so this paragraph is about Amnesty International بمعنى منظمة العفو الدولية. So Amnesty International is an independent pressure group. Pressure group بمعنى مجموعة ضغط. It campaigns for تدافع عن the release إطلاق سراح of imprisoned مسجونين or maltreated people أو الناس اللي تحت التعذيب because of their political إما بسبب آراء ديالهم السياسية أو المعتقدات الدينية. The movement was founded إذن هذه الحركة تأسست in 1961 and has its quarters or headquarters عند المقر ديالها الرئيسي in London. Amnesty International has a network of voluntary local groups عندها شبكة ديال مجموعات متطوعة محلية and individual members وأشخاص ذاتيين throughout the world عبر العالم. To keep its independence للحفاظ على استقلالها from governmental influence من التأثير الحكومة. AI is financed by إذن هذه المنظمة هذه Amnesty International is financed ممولة من طرف donations هي الهبات and benevolent contributions مساهمات ديال الناس اللي كيساعدوا المنخرطين. Amnesty International's activities include campaigning إذن أنشطة ديالها تشمل campaigning القيام بحملات وكذلك lobbying والضغط for political and religious freedoms. For political and religious freedom من أجل الحرية الدينية والسياسية. Alright, let's move on now. Collocations. Collocation. Now الكلمات اللي كيمشيو مع بعض. Hold. شوفوا الكلمات اللي كيمشيو مع بعض كيكونوا لنا واحد collocation. Okay? So hold goes with a summit. تنظم قمة. Maintain peace. تحافظ على السلم. Settle a dispute. تحل صراع. Restore order. تحافظ على النظام. Recruit volunteers بمعنى كتخدم متطوعين ولا كتدخل متطوعين. Run a campaign تقوم بحملة okay أو تسير حملة. Veto a decision بمعنى ترفض قرار أو تعترض على قرار. Next one, next collocation. Again, humanitarian goes with aid مساعدات إنسانية. Fundraising campaign حملة لجمع الأموال. Emergency goes with relief بمعنى حملة طوارئ. And farewell goes with speech خطاب وداع. Cease goes with fire. Cease fire وقف إطلاق النار. Financial goes with assistance دعم مالي. Bilateral goes with relations علاقات ثنائية. And peace treaty كتعني معاهدة السلام. So today we are going to see function in unit number 8. Alright, let's start. So function in unit number 8 is about responding to good news and bad news. بمعنى كيفاش أنك ترد على أخبار سيئة وأخبار جيدة ولا أخبار جيدة وأخبار سيئة. Okay, let's start please. Responding to good news. Okay, العبارات اللي كنستعملوا ملي كنجاوبوا على أخبار جيدة. So look at this example. Responses to good news. I got a promotion at work. بمعنى ترقيت في العمل. أنا that's great news. That's fantastic. Alright, next one. I'm getting married. I'm so happy to hear that. Congratulations. Next one. We set up a new neighborhood association. نشأنا جمعية جديدة ديال الحي. Wonderful. رائع. Terrific. رائع كذلك. Great. ممتاز. Alright, so more expressions. عبارات أخرى اللي كنستعملوا when responding to good news. You can say, oh, what a great news. Oh my goodness, great news. Wow, what a great news. I just can't believe it. It's a good news. Really, I just can't believe it. Lucky you. I'm glad to hear that. Sounds great. Super news. Super. Oh, how wonderful. That's wonderful, terrific, fantastic, marvelous, startling, breathtaking news. Congratulations. هادو العبارات اللي كنستعملو ملي كنبغيو يكون نردو على شي خبر جيد. بطبيعة الحال واحد العبارة تكفي بالنسبة لكم نتوما. Alright, so let's move to some practice. Now, let's move to responding to bad news. دابا ندوزو bad news عاد ديك الساعة ندوزو the practice. Okay, look at the bad news. I lost my job. فقدت عملي. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry. Alright. My father passed away yesterday. معنى توفى. That's awful. That's too bad. That's terrible. I lost all my books in the fire. فقدت كتبي كلها. I can't believe that. Alright, more expressions. Oh, I feel sorry for that. What a bad, terrible news. Oh dear, poor you. Too bad. I feel sorry for that. I do feel sorry. I sympathize with you. Please accept my sympathy. It's really sad to hear that. I know you must be feeling sorry for that. إذن هذه العبارات اللي ممكن نستعملو. Let's move to practice now. Alright. Responding to the following news or respond to the following news. عندكم واحد مجموعة الأخبار حاولوا تجاوبوا عليها. أحمد. I got my bike with 17.86. Steve. Did you hear the news? Tom's father passed away. سميرة. Khalid has got a visa for the States. Okay, عندكم ثلاثة أنواع ديال الأخبار. شكون فيهم good news شكون فيهم bad news. Okay, take your time please. Okay, so the first one is good news. Oh, good news. Second one, really? It's sad to hear that. Third one, really? I just can't believe it. Okay, let's move on. More practice. Match the following expressions. So, we have here 1, 2, 3 and 4 expressions. Okay, عندنا بعض العبارات وعندنا 4 ديال الأخبار و4 ديال العبارات نحاولوا match. Okay, great news for you. You have succeeded. نعيكو الجواب. How fantastic. Are you sure? I'm sorry to have to say this, but you failed. Failed يعني سقطتي. Oh my God, that's terrible. I have got some news for you. Holiday starts tomorrow. What a fantastic news. You know, you will write this paragraph 50 times. My goodness, not again. ليس مرة ثانية. Alright, let's move on now. More function. Now we're going to move to advice. طبعا نشوفوا how you advise. نصيحة. Asking for and giving advice. Asking for and giving advice can be done with different methods. This depends on the formality or informality of the position or situation you are in. بمعنى أن ملي كنبغيو نعطيو نصيحة أو نطلبو نصيحة كنستعملو واحد المجموعة من العبارات على حسب الوضعية اللي حنا فيها. إما formal وضعية اللي هي رسمية أو غير رسمية. Here are some sentences that can help you ask for and give advice. Don't asking for advice. What do you advise me to? What should I do? If you were in my situation, what would you do? Do you suggest? Or do you have any advice? What's the best? What's the practical advice for this situation? I just don't know what to do. How can I? What would you advise me to do? What ought I do? What would you do if? And do you think it's a good idea if I? So these are some expressions. هذه بعض العبارات اللي نستعملوها باش نطلبوا asking for advice. Now giving advice. If I were you, I would. You should. You'd better not. Plus infinitive. Why don't you? it would be better if you. I advise you to. In your situation, I would. Have you thought about? Maybe you should. So these are some expressions used to give advice. Examples. Examples of asking and giving advice. Speaker number 1. I suffer from a headache. What should I do? If I were you, I would go to a specialist. I want to improve my writing skills. Do you suggest any advice? In your situation, I would read a lot and practice a lot. So I would read a lot and practice some writing. I'm thinking of leaving Morocco once and for all. You'd better not do it. There's no sweet place like home. There is no verb there is no sweet place like home. Alright, let's move to practice now. Match the following expressions. So we have the expressions and we have the words we need to match. Okay? Yes. I don't feel well. What should I do? Why don't you see a doctor? My friend's English is terrible. What do you think he should do? He'd better work online courses. Rita is always feeling tired. Do you have any advice? She ought to work less than usual and relax. Paul and Ellen are all the time fighting. Do you think it's a good idea if they got divorced? Why don't they see a marriage counselor? لسه اللي يبغى يقراو لينك الواد أو لا الروابط. Let's start. Alright, so remember, linking words are used to link ideas or when writing. إذا كنستعملوا الروابط باش كنربطوا ما بين الأفكار ملي كنكونوا كنكتبوا. They enable the writing to flow from one idea to the next in a logical and cohesive way. إذا كيخليو ولا يعطيو الإمكانية أنك تنتقل من فكرة لفكرة بطريقة سلسة بطريقة منطقية وترابطية كذلك. There are three main types of linking words. كاين ثلاثة أنواع ديال الروابط. Conjunctions. They are the most common form of linking words. مشهورة بزاف ومستعملة بزاف. They are used to join two parts of a sentence together. إذا كتستعملوهم باش كربطوا جوج ديال الجمل مستقلين and are generally used in the middle of a sentence. دائما كنستعملوا في الوسط. وهنا كنتكلم على but, so, and بحال هادو اللي هما صغارين. Example, international organizations work hard and they organized their work effectively. Then we have sentence connectors. Sentence connectors are used to link ideas from one sentence to the next one and to give paragraph coherence. Sentence connectors الروابط ما بين الجمل. Sentence connectors perform different functions. إذا عندهم واحد المجموعة ديال المهام and are placed at the beginning of a sentence وكيكونوا دائما في أول جملة. For example, Greenpeace works to preserve the environment. Besides, it is a non-profit organization. So هاد besides كنسميوها connector. علاش؟ لأنك كتربط الفكرة السابقة مع الفكرة اللي ماجية. كتأدي واحد الدور. شنو الدور ديال besides هنايا؟ besides كتعني بالإضافة إلى. إذا الدور ديالها هنايا addition. كتزيد لنا معلومة أخرى. أوكي؟ داكشي كنقولوا المهام متعددة. لو كنت عملت مثلا however كان غيكون الدور ديالها مثلا concession. يعني بحال التناقض. فهمتوا؟ هذا هو المعنى ديالها. Subordinators. شنو المعنى ديالهم؟ They are linking words. هما روابط that are used to join clauses together. إذا ما كيربطوش ما بين الجمل ولكن ما بين شبه جمل. They are used at the beginning or in the middle of a sentence. مثلا although international organizations work hard, they can't solve all problems. بمعنى هذه الجملة بوحدها although international organizations work hard بوحدها ما غتعطيش معنى. خصني ضروري نكمل. اوكي علاش كنسميوها حنايا subordinators؟ لان دائما خاضعين جمله اخرى باش تكمل المعنى. ماشي بحال besides ممكن نعمل الجمله الاولى بوحدها وتعطيني معنى والجمله الثانيه بوحدها وتعطيني معنى. Alright, so let's move to more practice. Here are some common linking words and their use. اذا هذه واحد المجموعه ديال linking words وكذلك المعنى ديالهم. شوفوا اللي كنستعملوهم to add information or ideas or emphasize statements. بمعنى كنستعملوهم باش كنزيدو معلومات، كنضيفو معلومات، كنأكدو على معلومات معينة. and also as well moreover further etc. Then you have to make comparison بمعنى ملي كنبغيو نقارنو similarly likewise in the same way equally. okay ملي كنبغيو نقارنو بالمثل. to make concession بمعنى ملي كنبغيو نبينو فكرة وتقريبا النقيض ديالها، اما النقيض ولا اللي عندها معنى معاكس concession. but however yet show contrast. هنا هذا هو التطابق، يعني الفكرة العكس ديال الفكرة الأخرى. whereas in contrast while conversely. ساعات نشوفوا أمثلة مزيان باش تبين الاستعمال ديال هادو. to provide reasons for this reason باش كنبينو الأسباب. for this purpose for because. okay to express the reasons and to explain results باش نبينو النتائج. so as a consequence as a result hence اللي كيعني هو لهذا. to provide examples باش نعطيو examples دائما كنستعملو هاد الكلمات. for example for instance in other words such as. to draw conclusions بمعنى كنستخلصو الأفكار نتائج استنتاجات كنستعملو as has been noted finally in brief in short etc. now let's move on. هنا ندخل شوية في give an example ونشرحو نزيدو نشرحو. okay so when we want to give example we use these words كنستعملو الكلمات for example for instance namely such as. نشوفو الأمثلة. the most common way to give example is by using for example or for instance. إذا الطريقة المشهورة ولا المستعملة بزاف اللي كنبغيو نعطيو شي example كنستعملو for example for instance. مثلا Jane is a gifted musician. For example, she can play the guitar and the violin perfectly. She can sing different types of songs such as the country music and the jazz. لاحظتوا الاستعمال ديال مثل such as for example. alright. namely refers to something by name. إذا namely كنرجعوها لشي حاجة اللي هي تعود على شيء اللي هو مسمى. for example مثلا there are two problems. هناك مشكلتين. namely يعني كنسميو هاد المشاكل كنعرفوهم the expense and the time. مصاريف والوقت. okay let's move on. adding information. so ملي كنبغيو نزيدو نعطيو معلومات كنستعملو هاد العبارات in addition as well also extra. غنشوفو دابا الاستعمال ديالهم كيفاش هو. ideas are often linked by and. إذا الأفكار دائما كنربطوهم ب and. in a list you put a comma between each item but not before and. ملي كتكون عندنا لائحة بزاف ديال الكلمات كنستعملو بيناتهم فاصلة، ولكن ملي كتكون and ما كنعملوش فاصلة. مثلا المثال اللي عندكم هنايا we discussed training education and the budget. لاحظوا هنا and ما عملناش فاصلة. اوكي as well. الكلمة as well can be used at the beginning or the middle of a sentence. مثلا ممكن نستعملوها في الأول أو في الوسط ديال الجملة. as well as the cost. we are concerned by the competition. we are interested in cost as well as the competition. إذا ممكن نستعملوها في الوسط أو لا في الأول، ولكن في الأول شوية نادرا، في الوسط كتكون أحسن. also. هاد الكلمة هادي also is used to add an extra idea or emphasis. كنستعملوها باش كنزيدو معلومات أخرى أو كنأكدو على معلومة معينة. مثلا we also spoke about marketing. okay كذلك هضرنا على التسويق. you can use also with not only to give emphasis. وهاد also كنستعملوها كذلك مع not only. مثلا we are concerned not only by the cost but also by the competition. هنا كنزيد نأكد حنا ماشي مهتمين فقط بالمصاريف but also by the competition. we don't usually start a sentence with also. ما عمرنا ما كنبداو الجملة ب also. if you want to start a sentence with a phrase that means also you can use instead in addition or in addition to this. إذا الجملة عمرنا ما نبداوها ب also. okay دائما إذا بغينا نبداو ب also نعملو in addition أو in addition to that. moreover and furthermore. حاجة كلمات add extra information كيزيدو لنا معلومات أخرى. to the point you are making. بمعنى الفكرة اللي انت كتناقشها كتزيد معلومات أخرى عليها. For example, marketing plans give us an idea of the potential market. Moreover, they tell us about the competition. إذا هنا moreover كتبين لي على أني كنزيد فكرة على الفكرة اللي فاتت. To goes either at the end of a sentence or after the subject. That means as well. They were concerned too. I too was concerned. ولكن أحبذ على أنها تكون في الأخير ديال الجملة وتكون مسبوقة بفصيلة أحسن. Apart from and besides are often used to mean as well as or in addition. لاحظوا جوج كلمات ديال apart from and besides. Apart from rubber, we are the largest sports car manufacturer. rubber بمعنى الشركة ديال rubber. Apart from, okay, بمعنى إضافة إلى, okay. Besides ممكن نقولوا besides rubber, okay, بجانب rubber أو لا إضافة إلى rubber. We are the largest sports car manufacturer. مصنع سيارات. Alright, let's move now to summarizing. كتستعملوا هاد الكلمات ملي كنبغيو نعملوا شي تلخيص ديال شي فكرة معينة. We normally use these words at the beginning of a sentence to give a summary of what we have said or written. كتستعملوا الكلمات باش كنعطيو واحد الملخص على ما قيل سابقا. Sequencing ideas. إذا هنا كيفاش نعطيو واحد ترتيب زمني للأفكار. The former and the latter are useful when you want to refer to the one or two points. كنستعملوا the former الأول, the latter الأخير. Example, marketing and finance are both covered in the course. لاحظوا the former كدل على marketing الأول is studied in the first term and the latter كدل على finance is studied in the final term. Firstly, secondly, finally or lastly are useful ways to list ideas. إذا هادو كلمات مهمة باش نليستيو نعملو واحد اللائحة ديال الأفكار. It's rare to use fourthly. هاد fourthly نادرا ما كنستعملوها or fifthly. Instead, بدلا من ذلك try to use the first point, the second point, the third point and so on. إذا كنا في العاود نستعمل firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, fifthly ما كنعملو هادشي. من الأحسن نستعمل the first point إذا كانوا عندنا أفكار بزاف. نعمل the first, second, third, etc. Alright, now giving a reason. When you want to give a reason, you use these words. هاد الكلمات كنستعملوهم كنبغيو نعطيو reason. Due to and owing to must be followed by a noun. إذا ملي نبغيو نستعملو due to owing to خصنا دايما نعملو الاسم. Due to the rise. بسبب ارتفاع in oil prices. The inflation rate rose by 1.25%. بسبب الارتفاع ديال الأثمنة ديال البترول نسبة التضخم ارتفعت إلى 1.25%. Owing to the demand بسبب الطلب. We are unable to supply all times within 2 weeks. نحن غير قادرين على تزويد التزويد. If you want to follow these words with the clause, a subject, verb and object, you must follow the words with the fact that. هذه الكلمات هذه due to أو into إلا بغينا نعملو موراهم شي جملة ضروري نستعملو the fact that. مثلا due to the fact that oil prices have risen, the inflation rate has gone up to. owing to the fact that the workers have gone on strike. إلا بغينا نعملو جملة خصنا ضروري نعملو هاد to the fact that. Alright, because or because of. Because of is followed by a noun. دائما كتكون متبوعة بالاسم. Because of bad weather, the football match was postponed. Because can be used at the beginning or in the middle of a sentence. For example, because it was raining, the match was postponed. We believe in incentive schemes because we want our employee to be more productive. لاحظوا because كنستعملوها إما في الأول أو في الآخر. و because of كتكون دائما متبوعة باسم. Since و as. since and as mean because. هذا بيجي بإمكانه because. Since the company is expanding, we need to hire more staff. نقولوا because the company. As the company is expanding, we need to hire more staff. بما أن بسبب بما أن الشركة the company is expanding تتسع ولا كتزيد كتكبر we need to hire خصنا نخدموا بزاف ديال الناس staff. Alright. Now let's move to giving a result. عندنا هاد الكلمات اللي كنستعملوها في giving a result. Therefore, so, consequently, and as a result هادو كاملين مالهم are all used in a similar way. نستعملوهم بنفس الطريقة. The company are expanding. Okay, the company is expanding. Therefore, ولا so, ولا consequently, as a result, they are taking on extra staff. إذا هنا كنستعملو دائما في الوسط. So is more informal. So كنستعملوها لأنها more informal. Contrasting ideas. كنستعملو but, however, although, even though, nonetheless, etc. تشوفوا كيفاش كنستعملوهم. But is more informal than however. إذا but كتكون في الكلام العادي. It is not normally used at the beginning of sentence. ما كنستعملوهاش في الأول ديال الجملة. He works hard, but he doesn't earn much money. Or much. He works hard, however, he doesn't earn much. إذا but informal. كنستعملوها في الخطابات العادية. However, كنستعملوها في الخطابات الرسمية. Although, despite and in spite of هادو introduce an idea of contrast. كيعطينا واحد الفكرة اللي فيها التناقض. With these words, you must have two halves of sentences. إذا استعملنا هادو خصنا يكون عندنا جوج أنصاص ديال الجمل. For example, although it was cold, she went out in shorts. ضروري النصف الأول ديال الجملة والنصف الثاني ديال الجملة. Okay? Nevertheless and nonetheless mean in spite of, that, or anyway. The sea was cold, but he went swimming nevertheless. رغم ذلك. mean nevertheless. The company is doing well. Nevertheless, they aren't going to expand this year. رغم ذلك. Nonetheless كلمة رغم ذلك. While, whereas, and unlike are used to show how two things are different from each other. هادو كيبينو لنا كيفاش جوج الحوايج مختلفين على بعضهم. مثلا, while my sister has blue eyes, mine are brown. بينما كذلك. Taxes have gone up, whereas social security contributions have gone down. لاحظوا التناقض. Up, down, blue eyes, brown eyes. Okay? الطباق العربية. Unlike in the UK, the United States has cheap petrol. Unlike. Okay? على العكس. Now let's move to practice. Link your sentences. Read the following paragraph and match the underlined words A to F with the titles 1 to 6. طبعا الحال بطلوا دابا غادي تقراو هاد التكست ولكن انا عملت لكم مسموع وتبعوا معايا لهذاك وعملوا ليكزرسيس اللي عندكم.
When diplomats met to form the United Nations in 1945, one of the things they discussed was setting up a global health organizations. As a result, World Health Organization was set up on the 7th of April 1948, a date we now celebrate every year as World Health Day. WHO is responsible for providing leadership on global health matters. It also accounts for shaping the health research agenda, such as setting norms and standards, providing technical support to countries, monitoring and assessing health trends. Since health is a shared responsibility, WHO's job is to provide equitable access to essential care and collective defense against transnational threats. In brief, WHO's greatest concern must always rest with disadvantaged and vulnerable groups, that is to say, the groups who often live in remote rural areas or shanty towns and have little political voice.
Alright, now let's move to the next exercise. Circle the appropriate linking words from the list given. So we have a list. عندكم واحد اللائحة هنايا. اختاروا كلمة واحدة من الكلمات اللي عندنا. I have a friend named Elizabeth Smith who went to the University of Islands, Chicago, she did not have to work. So شنو غنستعملو هنايا؟ Because her parents paid for her school fees and all her expenses. إذا ما بغاتش تخدم ما عندهاش إلا تخدم. أوكي. علاش؟ لأن الآباء ديالها كيخلصوا لها مصاريف school fees. مصاريف ديالها. أوكي. Next one. Therefore ولهذا وهكذا. Okay. Therefore وهكذا all she had to do to worry about was studying and doing her work. كل ما كان يجب عليها فعله هو study and do her work, doing her work. Nevertheless, ولكن instead of using her time wisely, she would always procrastinate doing her schoolwork by saying that there was enough time to do it later. فعاد ما تستعمل الوقت ديالها بحكمة، كانت دايما كتعطل، كتعجز على الشغل ديالها وكتقول على أنها باقي الوقت. For instance, مثلا almost every afternoon she would watch television, talk on the phone with her friends or go out with them. Consequently, نتيجة لهذا الشيء كامل, she would hardly ever do her homework. يعني نادرا ما كتعمل التمارين ديالها. Moreover, she never submitted her essays in due time. عمرها ما كتسلم الessays ديالها، الإنشاءات ديالها في الوقت المناسب. As a result, Elizabeth's grades seemed to get worse and worse. النتائج ديالها أسوأ. Next exercise. Choose the correct word to fill in the blanks. اختاروا الكلمة المناسبة باش نعملوها في الفراغ اللي عندنا تما. Zahra got an award from UNESCO, even though, because or but, she was the first to fight illiteracy in her village. تحارب الأمية, fight illiteracy. Okay? إذا الجواب الصحيح because. B. The school is far away. Zahra attends all afternoon classes. However, although, because. قلنا however ما كتجيش في الأول. Because نادرا ما كتجي. Although يمكن يكون على حسب المعنى ديال الجملة. الجواب صحيح. Although the school is far away, Zahra attends all afternoon classes. كتحضر كتمشي رغم أن المدرسة بعيدة. She gets higher marks studying in difficult conditions. إذا هنا الجواب الصحيح هو despite. علاش؟ لأن despite هي الوحيدة اللي كنعملو موراها verb ing. Her parents were illiterate. If, since, consequently. They didn't send her to school when she was young. جواب صحيح consequently. E. UNESCO works to promote different fields of interest. Education, science and culture. جواب صحيح هنايا such as. Alright, let's move on. Rewrite the following sentences using the words between brackets. إذا غنعاودو نكتبو الجمل ونستعملو الكلمات اللي عطينا بين مزدوجتين. الجملة الأولى عندنا despite. إذا شنو غادي نعملو؟ جمال is illiterate. He is a member in different human rights organizations. جواب عندنا جوج احتمالات. Despite being illiterate أو لا despite his illiteracy. إذا despite ممكن نستعملوها مع verb ing وممكن نستعملوها كذلك مع noun كما عندنا هنا في الجملة. Despite being illiterate رغم كونه أمي أو لا رغم أميته. Next one. He is respected by all his neighbors. They choose him as their spokesman because. إذا هنايا they choose him as their spokesman because he is respected by all his neighbors. تفهموا مزيان؟ راه خصكم تفت because كتستعملوها كربطوا ما بين cause and effect. Many organizations denounce human rights violation. There are still many victims. Although many organizations denounce human rights violation, there are still many victims. Some people aren't volunteer in any NGOs. They help people solve their problems. yet دائما كتجي في الوسط. هذه بدون نقاش. Governmental organizations receive financial support from the government. whereas هي دائما كتجي في وسط الجملة بدون نقاش. بينما Greenpeace is a non profit organization. therefore هي كتجي بوست الجملة. صافي. هادو 3 الكلمات لأن دائما كنستعملوهم في يونت بكتاب Ticket to English. اليوم الوحدة رقم 8 غادي نشوفو اليوم listening. Okay. Farewell speech. Answer these questions about the United Nations organization. When was the United Nations established? متى تأسست الأمم المتحدة؟ October 24, 1945. What are its objectives? Maintain international peace and security. الحفاظ على الأمن والسلام. Develop friendly relations among nations. تطوير العلاقات الصداقة بين الدول. Achieve international cooperation. تحقيق التعاون العالمي. Be a center of harmonizing the actions of nations. تكون مركز ديال التنسيق أو لا تناغم أو لا تنسيق ما بين actions of nations ما بين الأحداث ديال الدول أو العلاقات ما بين الدول. So, who is the previous Secretary General of the United Nations? Ban Ki-moon from Korea. Who is the current one? الحالي هو Antonio Guterres from Portugal. What subject do you think the United Nations should focus on? Development, peace, poverty eradication, قضاء على الفقر, preserving the environment. Yes, in his farewell speech, خطابه الوداع, Kofi Annan talks about his experience as United Secretary General. تكلم كوفي عنان على experience التجربة ديالو كأمين عام ديال الأمم المتحدة. Can you guess how long he served in his post? شحال دوز في البوست ديالو؟ تقريبا دوز from 1997 to 2006, about تقريبا 10 سنين. How many lessons he learned during his experience? واحد. بطبيعة الحال منقدروش نقولو هنا هو اللي خصو يقول لنا how many lessons. Anyway, دوزو ل text. Listen to Kofi Annan's speech and check if you made the right guesses.
Unit 8. International Organizations.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today I want to talk to you about the lessons which I learned in the 10 years during which I had the difficult job of the Secretary General. You will see that every one of my 5 lessons brings me to the conclusion that leadership is no less needed now than it was 60 years ago. My first lesson is that in today's world, security of every one of us is linked to that of everyone else. Security for some could never come to be achieved at the expense of insecurity for others. Security must be collective and indivisible. And I would add that this responsibility is not simply a matter of states being ready to come to each other's aid when attacked. It also includes our shared responsibility to protect populations from genocide, war crimes, ethnic cleansing, and crimes against humanity. My second lesson is that we are not only responsible for each other's security, but we are also responsible for each other's welfare. Global solidarity is both necessary and possible. It is necessary because without solidarity, no society can be truly stable and no one's prosperity truly secure. It is not realistic to think that some people can go on deriving great benefits from globalization, while billions of their fellow human beings are left in abject poverty, or even thrown into it. We have to give our fellow citizens, not only within each nation, but in the global community, at least a chance to share in our prosperity. My third lesson is that development depends on respect for human rights and the rule of law. Our world continues to be divided, not only by economic differences, but also by religion and culture. That is not in itself a problem. Throughout history, human life has been enriched by diversity and different communities have learned from each other. But if our different communities are to live together in peace, we must stress also what unites us, our common humanity. and our shared belief that human dignity and rights should be protected by law. My fourth lesson, closely related to the last one, is that governments must be accountable for their actions in the international arena as well as in the domestic one. Today, the actions of one state can often have a decisive effect on the lives of people in other states. So, powerful states have a special responsibility to take account of global views and interests as well as national ones. And today, they need to take into account also the views of what we call non-state actors. I mean, commercial corporations, charities and pressure groups, labor unions, philanthropic foundations, universities, all the myriad forms in which people come together voluntarily to think about or to try to change the world. My fifth and final lesson derives certainly from those other four. We can only do all these things by working together through a multilateral system and by making the best possible use of the unique instrument we have, namely the United Nations. My friends, we have achieved much since 1945, when the United Nations was established, but much remains to be done to put those 5 principles into practice. Thank you very much.
Alright, so 5 lessons 5 ديال الدروس من التجربة ديال كوفي عنان. The first lesson, second one, third one, the fourth lesson and the fifth lesson. The first lesson, security for some could never be achieved at the expense of insecurity of others. بمعنى الأمن بالنسبة للبعض لا يمكن الحصول عليه على ثقة ولا باللا أمن ديال الآخرين. Okay. Number 2, second lesson, global solidarity is both necessary and possible. solidarity بمعنى الدعم ديال الدول كاملين. Okay. ضروري و possible. Third lesson, development depends on respect. تطور development يعتمد على respect for human rights, حقوق الإنسان, and the rule of law. The fourth lesson, government must be accountable, so يكونوا مسؤولين في their actions. The fifth lesson, we can achieve these goals only by working. ممكن نحققوا هذه الأهداف كاملة من خلال العمل مع الأمم عبر الأمم المتحدة. Alright, so complete these sentences from the speech. نحاول نكملوا هذه الجمل من الخطاب ديال اللي سمعنا دابا عاد. To achieve للحصول على الأمن in the world, populations must be protected from. إذا الشعوب يجب أن تتم حمايتها من يش. From genocide, okay, war crimes, ethnic cleansing and crimes against humanity. Genocide بمعنى هو الإبادة, war crimes حروب, جرائم حروب. ethnic cleansing بمعنى التطهير العرقي and crimes against humanity بمعنى الجرائم ضد الإنسانية. Through solidarity, من خلال solidarity بمعنى التضامن, countries can be, دول can be stable and secure, مستقرة ومؤمنة. What unites people is there, ما يجمع الناس هو their common humanity, إنسانية مشتركة, and the belief that human dignity, الكرامة الإنسانية, and rights should be protected. Non-state actors, شكون هما اللي هما non-state؟ الفاعلين الغير حكوميين. Commercial corporations, charities and pressure groups, labor union, النقابات وجمعيات, etc. كوفي عنان describes the United Nations as كيوصف الأمم المتحدة ك as the unique instrument we have. هذا رقم 8. Alright, let's start. Now, vote on the following issue. Justify your vote. بمعنى صوت. Vote بمعنى صوت. You should watch over the world's peace and well-being. Who should, من يجب أن يراقب the world's peace, السلم العالمي والرخاء العالمي. في النظر ديالكم شكون؟ Okay. Was individuals, NGOs, governments or international organizations. نتوما كتختاروا. Next one. Read and discover. What international problems do these pictures suggest to you? شوفوا هاد الصور وشوفوا شنو هما المشاكل العالمية اللي كتعكسها هاد الصور هادي. Skim through the four passages and decide which organization. إذا غادي نقراو واحد text وغادي نشوفوا شكون هما organizations، شكون هما المنظمات اللي would interfere in the situation depicted in the pictures. بمعنى غادي يدخلوا في هاد الوضعيات اللي عندنا في الصورة. شوفوا بعدا شنو عندنا في هاد الصورة هادي. Now, in this picture we have war. In this picture we have corruption, فساد، رشوة. In this picture we have environment problem. In this picture we have education. Alright. So, شوفوا هنا شنو عندنا في الجدول في التكست اللي عندنا تحت صغير. In the aftermath of World War II, بعد مرحلة الحرب العالمية الثانية, a lot of international organizations were created. مجموعة من المنظمات العالمية تم إنشاؤها to help deal with problems اللي تعالج أو اللي تتعامل مع المشاكل والقضايا related to education, economy, environment, health, etc. Some of the most prominent بعض الجمعيات اللي هي منظمات اللي هي معروفة بزاف مشهورة prominent are UNICEF, ICRC, Greenpeace and Transparency International. اوكي شوفوا دابا شنو عندنا. شكون اللي مكلف في هاد education؟ UNICEF. اوكي. ICRC is responsible for war. Greenpeace هي اللي مكلفة ب-environment. Transparency International هي مكلفة بالشفافية، المنظمة الشفافية العالمية. Alright. Now, let's listen to this text please. سمعوا هاد التكست هدايا اللي عندنا هنايا.
Formed by a group of North American activists in 1971, Greenpeace is a non-profit organization with a presence in many countries across the world. To maintain its independence, Greenpeace does not accept donations from governments or corporations but relies on contributions from individual supporters and foundation grants. As a global organization, Greenpeace focuses on the most crucial worldwide threats to our planet's biodiversity and environment. Greenpeace campaigns to stop climate change, denounce genetic engineering, protect forests, stop the nuclear threat, save the oceans, eliminate toxic chemicals. In pursuing its mission, Greenpeace has no permanent allies or enemies. It promotes open, informed debate about society's environmental choices. It uses research, lobbying, and non-violent diplomacy to raise the level and quality of public awareness. Greenpeace sums up its mission in one long banner: when the last tree is cut, the last river poisoned, and the last fish dead, we will discover that we can't eat money.
Alright, let's look at the next text.
Growing from the Swiss Henry Dunant's spontaneous gesture to help wounded soldiers, the International Committee of the Red Cross, Crescent, ICRC, was founded in 1863. It is an independent and neutral organization ensuring humanitarian protection and assistance for victims of war and armed violence. The ICRC has a permanent mandate under international law to take impartial action for prisoners, the wounded and sick, and civilians affected by conflicts and disasters. With its headquarters in Geneva, the ICRC is based in around 80 countries and has a total of 12,000 staff. It coordinates the activities and interventions of National Red Cross and Red Crescent societies around the globe. The ICRC is funded by contributions from governments, National Red Cross and Red Crescent societies, supranational organizations, such as the European Commission, and private sources. All funding is voluntary. The ICRC does not wait to receive funds before it responds to urgent needs in the field, and counts on the goodwill of its contributors to provide the funds as quickly as possible. The ICRC uses a white flag with a red cross or a red crescent. This flag is universally recognized as a symbol of assistance for the victims of armed conflicts and natural disasters. In use since the 19th century, this logo unfortunately does not please all countries of the world. To resolve this issue, the states party to the Geneva Conventions, during a diplomatic conference in December 2005, agreed on an alternative emblem, the red crystal.
Alright, نشوفوا text. Next text. Listen again, please.
UNICEF, established by the UN General Assembly in 1946 in post-World War II, is the world's leading organization working specifically for children. It works with local communities and governments all over the world to provide emergency relief and run long-term development programs in areas such as health, education and child protection. UNICEF's global reach allows it to deliver assistance where it is needed most. It upholds the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child and endeavors to hold the international community responsible for their promises to children. It also works to raise awareness of issues affecting children around the world and lobby governments to support children's rights. All of UNICEF's programs are entirely dependent on voluntary contributions. UNICEF raises funds for these programs through donations, the sale of cards and gifts, partnerships with companies and special events.
Alright. Next text, please. Just listen.
Originally founded in Germany in 1993, Transparency International, TI, is a not-for-profit and politically non-partisan organization. It leads the fight against corruption and its devastating impact on men, women and children around the world. Thanks to its members' donations, TI has the skills, tools, experience, expertise and broad participation to fight corruption on the ground, as well as through global and regional initiatives. TI's mission is to create change towards a world free of corruption and bribery. TI plays a lead role in improving the lives of millions around the world by raising awareness and diminishing indifference and tolerance of corruption. TI brings together relevant players from government, civil society, business and the media to promote transparency in elections, in public administration and in business. It also uses campaigns to lobby governments to implement anti-corruption reforms.
Alright, now let's move to the exercise, comprehension. Read the 4 passages about international organizations and fill in the table with the required information. مطلوب منكم أنكم تقراو. سمعنا وقرينا هاد الأربعة ديال التكست على organization ونملؤوا هاد الجدول اللي عندنا. So the organization, date of foundation فوقاش تأسسوا, the mission شنو المهام, financing شكون اللي كيمولوا. غنبداو بالأولية Greenpeace. Date of foundation 1971. The mission safeguarding the environment, الحفاظ على البيئة. Financing individual and supporters. ICRC 1863. Humanitarian aid and protection, المساعدة الإنسانية والحماية. Voluntary donations, إذن الهبات الفولونتير. UNICEF. Date of foundation 1946. Caring for children worldwide, بمعنى الاعتناء بالأطفال worldwide. Donations partnership. TI 1993. Fighting corruption, يعني محاربة الفساد. Individual and supporters.
Writing bon and writing على email. Alright, so we are going to see how we write an email, شنو هما الخصائص ديال الايميل etc. So this is the layout of the email. هذا هو النموذج ديال الايميل كيفاش كيكون بطبيعة الحال. امتحان باكلوريا كيجيب لكم النموذج هو هذا. So what is an email? It's a formal email differs from an informal email. إذا حتى في الايميل عندنا formal و informal. اوكي, كاين الايميل اللي كنصيفطوه للاصدقاء ديالنا وكاين الايميل اللي كنصيفطوه للناس اللي هما مهمين, مدراء etc. كنسميوها formal email. The various parts of an email, how to properly write a formal email. اليوم غنتعرفوا على شنو هي الاجزاء المهمه ديال الايميل وكيفاش تكتب واحد الايميل بشكل اللي هو صحيح. اوكي, الفورما ديال الايميل وكذلك غادي نشوفوا كذلك الشكل ديال الايميل وكيفاش نصيفطوا الايميل. alright شنو هو formal email اذا formal email someone you don't know well لما كنصيفطو formal email كنصيفطو لشي واحد اللي ما كتعرفوش مزيان to someone who is in authority شي واحد اللي عنده واحد l'autority السلطة إذا هنايا بحال مثلا your professor a public official مثلا شي officier ديال شي مسؤول etc أو لا كنصيفطوه مثلا كنصيفطوه formal email even a company you are doing business with حتى شي شركة اللي كتعامل معها بالبيزنس كنصيفطو لها formal email okay an informal email كنصيفطو تقريبا goes to a person you know well شي واحد اللي كتعرفو مزيان بزاف أو لا often it's someone you are on good terms with شي واحد اللي عندك معاه علاقة مزيانة بحال مثلا friend كذلك a family member شي واحد من العائلة. When sending a casual email you don't need to worry as much about structure and tone. ملي كنصيفطوا ايميل اللي هو informal ما كنهتموش بداك الشكل واللغة وداك الشيء ما كنهتموش به كتب ايميل عادي اوكي. The use of language differs totally. إذا الاستعمال ديال اللغة كيختلف بشكل جذري ما بين formal email و informal email. In a formal email we don't use the abbreviations. إذا ملي كيكون عندنا formal email ما كنستعملوش abbreviation contractions بحال مثلا going كنقولوا I am going. Slang language تا هي emoticons ما كنستعملوهاش and other informal terminology. The tone of a formal email is different as well. As informal email may not even use complete sentences. في الانفورمال ايميل ما كنستعملوش ممكن كاع ما نستعملوش جمل مكتمله او لا الجرامير يعني ممكن يكون اخطاء في الجرامير ماشي مشكل ولكن الفورمال ايميل لا خصو دائما يكون جمل اللي هي طويله محترمه نقاط capitalization grammar etc. In fact, part of what makes a formal email different from a casual email is the structure. إذا la structure, grammar هو اللي كيفرق لنا ما بين formal and informal email. A formal email has a very defined structure with a definite salutation. The opening parts email إذا حتى في الإيميل كيكون عندنا ديك المقدمة تحية signature section opening sentence and body كيكون عندنا تحية والإمضاء والمقدمة والعرض نفس الشكل يعني بحال كتكتب رسالة اللي هي رسالة رسمية. Here is an example of a formal email language. هذه بعض اللغات اللي بعض اللغة اللي كنستعملوها في الفورمال email language. The meeting is scheduled for December the 5th at 9:30 a.m. All students must attend. Your project updates are needed. لاحظوا اللغة كيفاش مستعملة. Okay. Compare the formal language with the informal email language in this email. إذا غنقارنوا نفس المعنى ولكن في الانفورمال كيفاش كنقولوا required meeting December 5 9:30 a.m. updates needed see you later ولا see you there. لاحظتوا هنا عندنا جوج ديال الايميلات واحد مكتوب باللغة اللي هي formal واحد مكتوب باللغة اللي هي informal. Salutation اللي كنستعملوا The salutation directly addresses the person you are sending the email to. إذا التحيات كاينين مجموعة الأنواع ديال التحيات اللي غادي نشوفوهم دابا. Formal salutations. If you are sending the email to a group, address the entire group. إلا كنتي كتصيفط إيميل المجموعة كتخاطب المجموعة. Dear students, if you have got the person's name you want to send the email to, it's proper to use the name along with any title the person has. إذا كان عندك الاسم ديال الشخص أحسن تستعمل الاسم ديالو مع لو تيتر ديالو بحال Dear Professor Smith. If you don't know the name of the person you are trying to reach, إلا ما كنتش كتعرف الاسم ديال الشخص اللي كتحاول تتواصل معاه, you should address the email to the title of the person you hope to reach. هنا كتواجهو باللقب ديالو. Here is an example. Dear Human Resource Director. لاحظتوا Director ما كنعرفوش ولكن نمثلو Director. In rare instances في حالات اللي هي نادرة where you don't know a person's name or title, it's okay to use this salutation. إلا ما كناش كعارفين الاسم ديال الشخص واللقب ديالو أو المهمة ديالو كتعمل to whom it may concern. Okay? To whom it may concern بمعنى احنا كنصيفطو رسالة ما كنعرفوش لمن ولكن اللي هو مهتم بهذاك الإيميل. Okay? Formal غنبقاو كذلك formal. Informal. Informal كنقول hey class, hello Tyler, As you can see, the formal and informal salutations are very different. لاحظتوا الفرق ما بين formal and informal. كنعملوا hi there for example. إذا هنا واحد الملخص ديال informal greeting and formal greeting. Hey John, hi John, hi there. ولكن في الformal dear Mr. Smith, hi John, hi Mr. Smith, dear John. Introduction. The opening of a formal email often requires the sender to introduce himself. In contrast, informal emails are sent to someone you know and the introduction isn't needed. في الفورمال ايميل دائما خصنا نقدموا نفسنا مقدمة ضرورية، ولكن في الانفورمال بما أن الشخص كنعرفوه سي با لا بين، لا داعي باش نعملوا المقدمة نعرفوا راسنا. Here is an example of an opening in a formal email. My name is Jordan Smith. I'm the professor of statistics for XYZ University. This message is for all current students. لاحظتوا؟ Informal openers. I hope all is well. لاحظوا الفرق ما بيننا ما بين formal. I hope this email finds you well. How have you been? It's been some time since we last connected. Long time no shot. Hey there. I hope all has been well. لاحظتوا اللغة كيفاش مفرقة؟ formal and informal vocabulary. إذا بعض الفوكابولير اللي فرق ما بين formal and informal. شوف informal كنستعملوا thanks. formal كنستعملوا thank you. sorry for كنستعملوا I would like to apologize for. Can you خصنا نعدلوها نعملوا I would appreciate if you. Can you help me? I would appreciate if you could help me. Do you know? Would you happen to know? I can't. Unfortunately, I will not be able to. I don't want. I would rather not. لاحظتوا كيفاش كنستعملوا الفرق في اللغة. Informal closing اللي كنختموا. Just informal كنقولوا just let me know if that makes sense. Please let me know how that might work on your end. Just let me know how that sounds to you. Please let me know if that sounds feasible. Just let me know whenever you have a second. Please let me know at your earliest convenience. إذا لاحظتوا الفرق في اللغة. Closing في الانفورمال كنستعملوا love, thanks, take care, yours, best regards. ولكن في الآخر لا. Yours faithfully when you start with dear sir and madam. اللي كتبداو الجملة dear sir and madam كنعملوا في الآخر yours faithfully. Yours sincerely when you start with the name. Example dear Mr. Collins. في الختام كنعملوا yours sincerely. Sincerely yours. Sincerely هذه American. Yours truly هذه American. إذا كنظن على أن هذه باقي هنايا informal and formal email كذلك هذه غير خلاصة وصافي greeting closing الفرق ما بين formal and informal. هنا dear Alex في الانفورمال dear sir, dear my friend, dear madam, dear mommy, dear president. لاحظتوا الفرق بيناتهم. كذلك هذا العبارات اللي كنستعملوا مع الختام في الفورمال informal. Thank you Henry, sincerely, best regard, best wishes Henry. هنا thanks Henry, cheers Henry, chat later, best Henry. Email salutations كذلك نفس الطريقة. هذه المصطلحات اللي هما مختلفين. وهذا عندكم واحد الامتحان اللي كان جاء في البكالوريا 2017 وعطاوهم هذه وقالوا لهم for these reasons I like science fiction films. What about you? What kind of films do you like most and why? داني. إذا لاحظوا على أن ملي عطاوكم غتبداو نتوما مباشرة. لاحظتوا؟ Dear Danny, thank you for your email. As far as I'm concerned, I like horror films very much. I really enjoy the terror and the fear in the scenes. I also like to see the characters screaming from fear. That's amazing. I love special effects in these kinds of films. They're awesome. They make me enjoy the story. I know that all are just fiction and unreal, but when I watch the movie, I feel like it's real. What about you? Do you like horror films? Tell me about it. Take care. لاحظوا. ده هو الجواب. Thank you very much. هذا الختام ديال هاد unit number 8 presented by أحمد ساير. كنتمنى على أنها تعجبكم، كنتمنى على أنكم تكونوا استفدتوا. See you later. Before you leave, remember to like, share, follow and subscribe, and thank you for your subscription. شكرا بزاف لكم، وبارطاجيو الفيديو باش التلاميذ ديال المغرب البسطاء اللي ما عندهم شي باش يزيدوا السوايع يستافدوا من هاد الفيديوهات. شكرا لكم، إلى حلقات